This team looks completely different than it did at the beginning of the season, and I think you really got to like a lot of what you see from them, and I think they've got a really good chance to win the East. I mean, if you think about it, they're probably the most complete team of the four teams in the playoffs. They're going to have at least home field advantage for one of the two playoff series when, staying in the East, because they're going to finish either first or second. So to me, there's a lot of reasons why you think this is going to be a team who has a chance to get out of the East and maybe do some damage, once they get out of the East.
I want them to avoid Boston. I think that's the one team, maybe their Achilles heel, a great goaltender. I think that might be potentially the Penguins' problem in the postseason is Tristan Jarry. I mean, is he a question mark? He did play one. He has very limited playoff experience, but you saw Matt Murray a few years ago. But that's my only concern. I know what you said about their defense today, but you got to look at their offense. I mean, they have three solid lines right now. Knock on wood that no one gets hurt, but those are three pretty good lines.
Well, no, they absolutely are, but you got to remember in the playoffs, A, you're going to be playing teams much better than Buffalo, and B, the game slows down. It comes to a grinding halt at times. It's ugly. It's, physical. It's, defensive hockey a lot of times. And so, all of that connect the dots in Harlem Globetrotter hockey that we saw tonight, you're not going to be able to do that in the playoffs. So that's the only thing I would be careful with is you've got to, you got to be able to do that against teams that are, that are going to play really tight defense.
Before we take a break, your thoughts on Al Villanueva. You weren't on the show yesterday. Some of the things that he said in that interview. Do you think it was tongue-in-cheek? Do you think it was kind of a shot at some of these guys? I mean, I definitely think it was a motivating factor for him to sign with Baltimore for the chance of playing the Steelers twice.
I don't. I think he's, I think he was just sort of being funny and, sort of busting the chops of some of his, friends on the team. And when it comes to signing with Baltimore to play the Steelers twice, if, let's say, the Cowboys would have come through with a 2-year, $20 million contract, he'd be going to Dallas. I mean, so, he can say whatever he wants to say, but I took it as a lot of just sort of his dry sense of humor and sort of, busting the chops of his buddies back here.
I mean, it seems like that's the best deal he got. I mean, I think they overpaid for him, $7 million a year, $8 million guaranteed.
I think it's the only deal he got.
Yeah, there was rumors out there that the Colts might have liked him, but you're right. I mean, potentially it's the only one that we know of. But, I mean, I think that was a lot of money for a guy like Al Villanueva who was maybe set to retire, and now he gets $14 million.
Yeah, and 8 of it's guaranteed. I think the big thing is we'll see now. We're going to test the theory of how much the scheme matters in, offensive linemen being able to run block. Because, last year a lot of people said, and, the rationale was it was hard to run block in the Steelers offense because they never ran the ball, and it was a soft, front because those guys never got to run block, and that's why Al Villanueva, had a quote-unquote bad season. Well, now he's in an offense where they're going to run the ball a ton, and everything they do is, basically asking him to drive block or, move forward. So we'll see. We'll see if it's a scheme or we'll see if maybe he's really done.
And we'll see what he does against T.J. Watt a couple times this upcoming year. All right, we're going to take a break. Back with your phone calls. Some of your tweets coming up next. Stay right there.